Hey guys, my name is Bree Amick, and this is my week 5 reflection. So just a kind of a topic refresh. I am looking at freshman failures specifically. I like this quote from Allensworth that the first year in high school has an outsized impact on whether students eventually graduate because it's a critical time for students' perceptions of themselves and learners. And the freshman year, really, once gets behind, it is very difficult to get them back on track to graduate. So I'm focusing specifically on that. The intervention I'm looking at is a peer tutoring program. And what I am looking at doing is pairing some of our students who have study hall, teacher cadet, a leadership class, a student council class, pairing them with actually teachers where we find some of our freshman failures. So I'm thinking Algebra 1, Foundations Algebra, English 1, Spanish 1, classes where we have high rates of failures from freshmen, and have those students actually during those times, during their study hall time or during that class period, be partnered with the teacher to provide additional support for the students and also for the teachers as well, because when you have several students in one class who are struggling, it's hard to answer and to get to every single one of those. So what I would eventually like to see is kind of almost piloting this program and using it in the future for a peer tutoring credit, so that it becomes its own credit bearing class for our students, for our peer tutors, so they also have a little bit of skin in the game. But for this onset for this year, because I would like to start next semester, I'm kind of looking at just piloting that and doing it in that way. So what I've learned, there was a quote this week from in Evans that says, "There's no closing the factory to retrain the workers," and I think that that really stuck with me because we are putting in these interventions, but school hasn't doesn't stop. So we're really going to have to think about what's working, not working, and be willing to drop back and come up with some different ideas and solutions as we go along. And so that's kind of one thing that stuck with me this week. And not only are we going to have to make changes, we're then going to have to communicate that to teachers and, in my case, peer tutors and that type of thing. Um, the process used to augment learning is misspelling on the learning, sorry, is overall the process of reading and applying, I think, to my own topic has been really helpful. I hope to begin my program or my intervention next semester. So, really thinking about how I'm going to prepare students, how I'm going to prepare teachers, because that needs to start happening this semester. So, I feel like that has been very useful in my case. Change in assumptions. I don't know if it's so much as a change, but again, this quote stuck with me this week that teachers need to see change not only as appropriate for students and as promising better learning, but also as something practical that their school can manage. And that's really what the peer tutoring. I know that they're bigger programs. I know that there are things that we could do to help freshman failures. I know that other schools have freshman academies. There's different things like that. But what I want to focus on is with the resources that we have, what can we do? What are some interventions that we can put in place that are sustainable for everybody involved? And that's really why I wanted to kind of focus on this peer tutoring program and getting our high achieving students in some classes with students who are more at risk. Favorite book. So I actually thought, because apparently I work with high schoolers, I thought it was going to be this book because when I pulled up this book, it had lots of white space and charts because I guess in my mind I'm also a 15-year-old. So I thought it was going to be this one, but it actually ended up being the human side of school change. Now, when I picked this one up, there are lots of small words and very little white space and no graphs. So my 15-year-old brain was like, ugh. But the more I started reading this one, I'm like, man, I probably should have read this before I became an administrator. Because some of it, I think, just how to approach faculty, how to approach teachers, how to kind of get them on your side. Is very useful information. And the chapters that have addressed that, which have been really the majority of them so far, have been super useful. I can think of times that we have presented something where we didn't maybe start off, we didn't give it to our department heads first. It didn't go well. And so this has been really useful in thinking about how I want to kind of roll out my peer tutoring program and what I'm thinking about doing. So, Evans, good text. Time management. My mom always told me growing up, do as I say, not as I do. This is what I kind of have passed on to my children. Probably the best advice that I have is not do as I say, not as I do, because time management and figuring out all of the work that is due for not just this class, any online program has not necessarily been my strong suit. I'm usually working until late at night and trying to get it done. So do as I say, not as I do. I think the hardest week for me was that Labor Day because I wanted to not labor during our long weekend, and having a short week made it difficult. So I do put everything into Google Calendar. So I put all of my due dates into there, and that's helpful for me. I kind of live and die by my Google Calendar. So I put in all the dates at the beginning of the semester for it. I think that's about it. Like I don't have and nothing much has changed. Same old, you know. So I have enjoyed working with all of you this time, and keep it going, keep it rolling. And if anybody has any ideas, or you have a peer tutoring program at your school that is working, I would love to hear it. Thank you.